Chérete, and welcome to the first lesson of Ancient Greek. If you already know Latin, certain aspects of Ancient Greek will come really easily, since some of the forms of conjugation and declension are similar to their Latin counterparts, as we'll soon see. There are also many borrowed words, and some words are exactly the same, like the following.
Ego, ego. This is ego, the same as in Latin. And just like in Latin, we only use it for emphasis. Ignore the symbols above the vowels for now, but note that the G in Greek is sort of a gargling sound. Ego. Let's learn our first sentence in ancient Greek. Grapho. Grapho. This means I write or I draw. An autograph is your own writing. And think about it, the first writing was done on clay tablets, so people had to engrave or carve when they were writing. But did you notice something really nice? The first person ending is the same as in Latin. In Latin we have scribo, and in Greek, grapho. Both words end in a long O, matching the O in ego. Now the word for book is biblion. Biblion. So what do you think the following word means? It's a noun. Bibliographos. Bibliographos. Literally, book writer. And this word should be obvious. Bibliografia. Bibliografia. Bibliography. Look at the endings of these words now. Do you see a connection to Latin? Which do you think is feminine, which is neuter, and which is masculine? Obviously, bibliografia is the feminine noun, and it is first declension. And the other two, which are second declension, have an O instead of a U, and the neutral noun biblion ends with an N instead of an M, as in Latin. It's pretty convenient that they're so similar, right? But unlike Latin, Greek has a word for the, so we have to say to biblion. To biblion. Thinking about the neuter declension in Latin, can you guess how to say I write the book? To biblion, grapho. To biblion, grapho. Just like in Latin, the accusative and nominative forms of neuter nouns match. And it's even better than that. Using what you know about scribo, try to guess how to say you write. Graphis. Graphis. This combination of epsilon and iota is pronounced with an E sound, just like the E in scribis. And the third person form follows the pattern of Latin, but leaves the T off the end. So what is it? Graphi. For masculine nouns, we have a different word for the. Ho bibliographos. Ho bibliographos. This accent over the omicron is a breath mark, signifying that there is an H sound. And what was the neuter form of the? Do. So we have ho and do. Now let's try to say the writer writes the book. Ho bibliographos graphi to biblion. It's practically the same words repeated. Look at the following sentence now. Kalos graphi. Kalos graphi. What one English word do these two words sound like? Calligraphy. And what is calligraphy? Beautiful writing. The adjective kalos means good or beautiful, and we can form adverbs by replacing os with os. The longer o sound is like adding ly to beautiful. Kalos, kalos. Beautiful, beautifully. Now is a good time to talk about these accent marks. The marks over the vowels here denote differences in pitch. Ancient Greek varied in pitch, so it is thought that it kind of sounded like it was being sung. It's okay to completely ignore these because in fact no one knows exactly how pitch accent worked in ancient Greek, since we obviously have no audio recordings. But it is thought that the difference between these two vowels is in the length and rise in pitch. Nevertheless, you can simply put the emphasis of the word on this syllable, because that is what these accent marks eventually turned into in Koine and modern Greek. Os is a short vowel with a small rise in pitch, while os is longer with a rise and fall in pitch. We'll talk more about this as we go along, so as not to overwhelm you. Now, how did we say it is a book in Latin? Liber est. Here's the equivalent in Greek. Biblion esti. Biblion esti. It's just est with iota at the end. And we don't need to say anything for a. We just say book is, like in Latin. Note that this accent above the epsilon is different from the two we just saw, and the one we saw over the omicron in o bibliographos. These are known as breath marks. The one over the omicron signifies an H sound, and the one over the epsilon signifies that it doesn't make an H sound. It's really annoying because they could have just put no mark, but it's just one of those things that we have to get used to now. Before we look at the next word, try to recall the name for a doctor who treats children. A pediatrician. So what do you think this means? Paidion esti. Paidion esti. It's a little child. Now to say you are in Latin, we remove the T from est, but in Greek we remove both the tau and sigma, and are left with the following word, paidion I. Paidion I. You are a child. Now we have a breath mark and a pitch accent mark. So what do these two marks mean? They signify that the pitch of the word rises and falls, and that there is no H sound. So now to tie everything together and test your Latin skills, try to guess how to say the following. The writer writes a book for the child. Make the in for the child match what you think the dative form will be. Ho bibliographos graphi to biblion toi paidioi. The dative form is a long O sound, just like in Latin. The only difference is this slight E sound on the end, which is signified by the iota underneath the omega. If you still have trouble remembering the declensions in Latin, check out my course Mastering the Declensions on Patreon, linked in the description box below or in the bottom corner of the screen here. This is a way you can support the channel and help it grow, or you can also hit the join button below to become a member on YouTube.
Congratulations on speaking your first sentences in ancient Greek. See you in the next lesson.